don't think I've ever seen anything quite like this.
TV, it's just before your last Test match, your last time in charge of England. You've always had this theory of just 4 years is about the lifespan of a coach. Why is that?
I think it's good for the group of players. I don't think you want to become part of a problem, and sometimes 4 or 5 years is around about the right length, I think. Hopefully the next guy can come in and take them further forward.
Speaking of man management, one of the great wins, one of the early wins, Paul Farbrace probably was the first instigator of it, was Ben Stokes. Ben Stokes, before you two, actually was struggling a little bit, wasn't playing as much for England, that didn't quite have a role. Very quickly, Farby put him in at number 6 in Test cricket, and then you seemed to strike up a relationship with him straight away. What was it about Ben Stokes that you enjoyed? Well,
he was a knockabout sort of a bloke. I think it's probably a little bit more like an Australian, I think.
It's the greatest compliment for Ben Stokes is he's an Australian.
Well, he was close, isn't it? It's like New Zealand's close enough. But look, he is a bit of a knockabout bloke, and he has a go about me about being a bogan. I think he's probably the biggest bogan in this team. But I mean, apart from that, he had a confidence about him. He obviously had a lot of skill, but it was the way he went about his practice. You just knew that he wasn't going to take a backward step.
What about positive batting? Let's talk about, because a lot of the time it's, I think, unfairly spoken about how England just go out there and play shots and look for positive batting. Well, that's not what you mean, though, necessarily. How do you explain positive cricket?
Well, look, I've been asked a little bit lately, is there one thing I'd change during my time here, and it's probably how to explain better to the media what I think positive cricket is. I spent the next 3 or 4 years trying to explain that it's not about hitting 4s and 6s. Burnsy, for example, he makes 100 and he bats for a long time in Edgbaston, for example. Cookie plays a long innings in his style. That, to me, is being positive. He's gone out there. They're very confident about the way they want to go about playing their game and how they associate it to the situation in the game. That, to me, is being positive, mentally aware of what's going on around you in the game. In the one-day game, we certainly did take the reins off them and actually say to them, go out and express yourself, go out and see how good you can be, knowing full well that they were going to fall over and have some bad games. You learn from the mistakes you make, and I'd like to think that over a period of time that when they were knocked over, slowly they started to actually work it out. And I think the proof's in the pudding with not just the World Cup win, but the fashion in which we did it. For the last 4 years, we were playing on very flat wickets in one-day cricket here. We got to the World Cup final and they were wickets with a bit in them. But we were able to adapt.
The results in white ball cricket have obviously been extraordinary. Has that been to the detriment a little bit to Test cricket in this country?
Look, I don't think there's any doubt that the style of players we've got this year at the moment is that they are suited to the one-day game. I think some of the techniques certainly have been affected by the one-day game.
If it was a split coach, would it have made your life a bit easier? Would it have been better for English cricket?
I'm not sure about that. I mean, Test cricket, one-day cricket, T20 cricket, I mean, I enjoyed 100% of it, 100% of the time. After some of the series, especially when you might have had 3 or 4 series on the trot, it did become fairly tired at the end of it and looking forward for a break. But I mean, that didn't stop me enjoying every single moment of it.
Bowled in, dragged on. Wood the man with the final wicket. 599 days after handing the urn over to Australia, Cook has his redemption.
What's your most cherished memory of doing this job?
Well, obviously the cherry on the top is the World Cup final. I mean, the first series and winning the Ashes, having just flown from Australia a couple of months before, was a great feeling as well. But look, the World Cup, just to see the joy on the players' faces, the joy on the other coaches and the management, the English cricket fans in general. It was something I won't forget for a long time.
ICC World Cup champions, 2019, for the first time, England!
Well, I don't think I've ever seen anything quite like this.